So as I welcome my panel on stage, Hazel, Maurizio, and Inigo. Let's come with the royal wave, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Maurizio and Inigo. So you can probably could tell this is the panel with the royal wave. We're probably the most fun, hopefully, panel in the last 24 hours. Probably the next 30 minutes. So please be present. Please be active. Please stick with us because we're going to smash this together with some great conversations. Excited to be able to talk about AI and tech across the three verticals of sports, entertainment, and music. And with some of the greatest minds in the industry. I'm Peggy. I'm your most royal moderator at your service. It's my privilege to represent Global Sports Innovation Center, powered by Microsoft, or GSIC. You have to remember this four-letter words because, in case Jasper hasn't told you, that's the secret password to your lunch. So please remember, right? Yeah, and GSIC is proud to partner All That Matters and bring all conversations revolving how technology and AI could help us reimagine and reinvent the realms of marketing, sports, entertainment, music, content, all in constant motion, colliding, collaborating, coexisting together. So let's start with the panel. Maurizio, you are the Vice President, Business Development Asia for Tradable Bits. Tradable Bits is an all-in-one ecosystem that talks about the marketing efforts, and you do it across esports, sports, music, verticals. The theme today is the fan is king. What is the one word or image that comes to your mind?
Well, we need to treat the people that attend events, sports, concerts, with a great deal of respect in order to give back the time and resources that they are giving us.
So what's the one image that comes to your mind? The fan is king.
The fan is at the top of this pyramid, and we need to be respectful of their choices.
The fan is at the top of the pyramid, and we need to be respectful of the fan. Inigo, senior client global partner for Sportian. Sportian is a tech solutions provider that looks at reinventing the world of sport and entertainment with your deep sports experience and tech development. Inigo, you oversee the projects combining sport technology and innovation across the markets of EMEA and Southeast Asia. Same old question. When you think about the fan is king, what is the one metaphor image?
Well, probably I will imagine the fans cheering in the stands. So at the end of the day, the fan is always at the core of the project. So for example, at Sportian, when we are constantly developing these kind of technologies, we always put the fan at the center. So in order to take data-driven decisions, to tailor our communications with each of the fans, I would say that the fan needs to be always at the core of the strategy.
Gotcha. So if you imagine the picture, the fan in the stand cheering, that is the image. The fan is king, the fan is all you work for. Hazel, Vice President, Music Intelligence, SoundCloud. SoundCloud is something you put your music in front of millions, you know who your fans are, and with the algorithm, you know what they love, what they like, and therefore you can monetize on multiple platforms. And Hazel, I know you are deeply passionate about the value of AI integration and digital transformation for the music industry. Same old question. When you think about the fan is king, what comes to your mind?
Thank you so much, Peggy. Absolute pleasure to be here. And for my one word, one image, I'm going to go with headphones.
Headphones.
Yes,
headphones.
so the fan is
headphones.
king. And I think about this is what's come to mind because music is a very personal experience. Yeah. In a lot of ways, it is a one-on-one experience. You're having that direct connection to the music that you love, that you want to listen to. But of course, the ecosystem is much wider than that. You know, when you think about how do I share my music, how do I connect with the artists that I love, everything branches out from that one-on-one experience. So that's what I'm going to go with for my one word, one image.
I love that headphone. So when I think about headphone next time, I think of all the fans out there who love me. Yep. So, let's have a little bit of context. The evolution of fandom. Phase one was actually traditional fandom. And some of you who are a little bit more wise and a little bit more mature, those old days where you go out to the ground and you cheer for your fan and you yell, that's local, right? Phase 2 was media expansion. With the advent of television and radio, you now have support fans across borders and you have sports commentary analysis. Phase 3 is where we are in now, technological revolution, as defined by digital transformation, esports, fantasy leagues, immersive technologies like AR, VR, and more than ever, AI-driven tech that opens a whole new world of possibilities, a whole new world of personalized fan experiences probably never imagined before. So using the lens of innovation, I'm going to ask my panelists this question, all right? 2 questions. One, in your line of work, in the realm of your work and your industry, what is the most relevant or pressing challenge that comes to you when you want to build fans for your brand? And 2, what are the tech solution, AI-driven solutions that you've adopted to address those challenges? Maurizio, I know you have something to show us with the video, and you can talk us through that. Roll the tape, action.
Well, to address your question, I think that we have this idea that the fans are everywhere, right? You're coming to a football match, a basketball match, whatever, but they are also anonymous. We are giving social media platforms the opportunity to talk to them, but we cannot get in touch with them any longer. We have millions of fans on Facebook, millions of followers on TikTok, millions of subscribers on our YouTube channel. I think that if you are an IP, if you are a brand, if you are an organization, if you are a club, if you want to get in touch with your audience, you need to be able to understand who your fans are. You need to have a name, a last name, an email address, a point of contact, not because you want to stalk them, but because you want to treat them like the kings that they are. Without the fans, we wouldn't be able to be valuable. You wouldn't be able to sell tickets. You wouldn't be able to sell merchandise. You wouldn't be able to continue being successful in business. What we do at Tradable Bits, we are using actually technology so that whatever you are doing on social media, whatever you're doing during a telecast, whatever you're doing during an event, we are trying to give you, sport IP, organizer, music festival, and so on and so forth, the opportunity to take away the activity from social media. You drive them to a destination where, in exchange of an engagement point, spin the wheel, tell me who's going to win, who's going to score first, who's going to score the most, this is what is going to happen. And you start building a huge database of fan IDs, your own fans, so that you can target them again and again. Most importantly, you can reward them. Later at the music festival, we know who's coming because they bought the tickets through one of our customers. We know that they are coming there. They are going to check in the VIP section, and we are going to retarget them within 20 seconds of checking in and say, bro, do you want to be a VIPer, even more than VIP? Why don't you do this? During telecast in Taiwan, you want to have 2 extra tickets, 1 baseball signed by a player, a piece of merchandise. You want to go to Hokkaido and enjoy an MPB game, scan the QR code and follow the instructions. These allow you to really talk to your fans. You know them, you know what they are doing, you know what they are buying, you know what they are interested in. And most importantly, you're treating them with the respect that we are saying earlier.
So I think we come back to the word respect. And what I think Maurizio is saying is that the greatest challenge today is, do you know your fan? Do you know your fan by segmentation, by demographic profile, what they like, what they're most passionate about? And therefore, you can then slice the data and you can help engage them. And what I think you have seen on that screen is some of the tools that technology can help you analyze millions of data in the fastest time, give you what you want, and then you can use those data. Inigo, so you have a video to show us and talk us through? Can we have the video, please, from Sportian? This is quite fun.
Our fans are our future, the key to new success on and off the field. Fans will be what drive us to glory and give our sport a future. But if we want our fans to be there for us, we need to be there for them. We need to connect. Our fans are not customers. They are our community, which stays active around the world, in the good times and in the bad. The more we learn about our fans, the better we can connect, strengthen our community, and accompany fans on a lifelong journey. It's time for a new approach to fan engagement, an approach that starts with data and learning from fans to understand their needs, their hopes, their dreams. When we can connect with what the fan really wants, we set the foundations for better marketing, increased engagement, and higher returns, while forming deeper connections across devices, countries, and generations. Because fandom is not a transaction, it's a lifelong journey. And if we connect with that journey, who knows where it can lead.
How many times have we watched a real live game and we feel touched because our team has won? And that is, fan is not a transaction, it's a lifelong journey. Inigo, what's the problem that Sportian is trying to solve?
Well, we are trying to solve a few problems, probably to list a few. The first one could be engagement, and the second one could be retention. As we just seen in this video, this is just an example of the national team in Australia of rugby, the Wallabies. As you could imagine, the teams are playing during the season, but what is happening after the season, how you can build this retention with the team, how you can build some engagement, because the players are probably leaving to other clubs, but you need to keep your community engaged. So we are trying to solve these issues, and then AI is supporting us to achieve a better engagement with the fan community. So AI is very helpful in terms of predictive analytics, for example. So we can predict the fans' behavior, we can take data-driven decisions based on what we think is going to happen or AI is telling us. And then we are using, for example, AI on different ways in order to support the leagues, the clubs, and the right holders to achieve better engagement, but also to increase the revenue streams. So we are using a new tool that is called dynamic pricing. We are analyzing different sources of data from, like, for example, weather forecast. We are analyzing how the team is performing, who are they playing against. And analyzing all this data, we are getting into a point where we can provide to the league or to the club what should be the most accurate pricing for each of the different games that the club is playing during the whole season. So, for example, if we are talking that they are playing in Christmas time, and they are playing at 12 a.m. in the morning, probably you need to offer a reduced pricing because you want to get involve the community, the kids, and so on to come to the stadium. If you are playing Real Madrid against Barcelona, probably the pricing should be high because you are well aware that it's going to be a sold out.
So, Inigo, I think that is a challenge 365 engagement for the fan, right? Not just during the game, but throughout. And then you talk about predictive analysis. If you follow a club, you want to know what's happening to your team, what are the chances of them winning. And you talk about dynamic pricing, right? How you actually, in a way, manage your fans' response and price them accordingly. We'll come back again. Hazel, music. I love music. And power and music and sports are probably the two most universal languages in the world. What is the problem you're trying to solve regarding fandom?
I love that, and I think everyone here is probably a music fan. I would hope so. So just to put it in a little bit of context, before I was a VP at SoundCloud, I lived in Singapore for 6 years. I love it here. And I built an AI company called Maurizio that we built and sold to SoundCloud, which is how I've ended up there. And we were an artificial intelligence company for the music industry. So normally when I'm invited to events like this, I'll be put on the AI panel. Great, I'll talk about AI all day long. But I was really excited to be asked to be on a panel about fandom, because actually a lot of what we were doing when we were building an AI company is it's all enablement around how do you connect the music and the fans. That's what the technology exists for. It doesn't just exist sort of in isolation. So since I've joined SoundCloud, we've been really focused on how we can work with the fans. And once I got invited to this panel, I also started thinking about how is music different in some ways to sport? And one of the things that came up on our call that we had earlier this week was that music is very unique in the streaming services, in that every streaming service in the world has every song. So there's sort of ballpark about 90 million tracks globally that Apple, Spotify, Amazon will have all of these tracks. SoundCloud's in a unique position because we have user-generated content, UGC, that we have 375 million tracks. And that's a challenge when you have X amount of listeners and you're trying to figure out how do we put the right track out of 375 million in front of the right fan. So using AI, using technology to do that is why SoundCloud bought my company. And one of the things, a couple of examples I wanted to throw out there for the audience was, we recently did a campaign with Billie Eilish. She had the new album coming out. And we realized that we had the data on the platform to be able to say, who were the people who listened to Billie Eilish's very first album on the first day that it came out? Who were the day one fans? So we were able to go and get that data and then create a microsite where we were able to highlight her original fans. And people love nothing more than to be shouted out and to be felt special in a kind of, whether it's the signed baseball card or whatever the connection is. So that's one way that we use the technology. And then another really exciting program that's AI-based is something that we call First Fans, which is the idea that every time a track is uploaded to our system via our Next Pro subscription service, how are we able to put that right track in front of the right people? And we've started to use AI to be able to do this. We kind of analyze the fingerprint of the audio that's uploaded, and then we kind of look at the profile of all the listeners that we have, and we look where the fingerprints match. Like, would this track be a suitable match for these listeners? And then we're able to seed those tracks. And our goal is to be able to get 100 listens within the first 24 hours. Because that sort of initial traction, when there are so many tracks out there, 375 million, is really important. So being able to use technology to create these fan opportunities, something we're very passionate about at SoundCloud.
That's amazing. If you didn't get the story right, let me try to summarize. Right. So the first point, if you have volume of data out there, 365 million tracks, right? How do you analyze the data? AI, right? It frees up the space for you to do your work for creativity. Second thing, because for SoundCloud, you're able to have user-generated data, right? So how do you know, and then every fan out there for your soundtrack is saying something. How do you keep track? AI. And the last bit, the microsite, the first fans, is lovely, right? You learn something new, you want to know who are the very first few fans that actually like that song. And the footprints, right, the fingerprints, sorry. The fact that you're able to kind of like nail down who are the first maybe 100,000 fans that love that music and what they're like. And if you know these fans are like that, the next song that comes out, you can actually push it out to these fans. So this is using AI to help do the work that you probably could never do in the space of the next 10 years. Yeah. So I think we've talked about, how powerful AI is. And I love the part that in Maurizio talk about the respect for the fan is important. So let's shift gear from maybe a bit of tech to the lens of social. I think with the evolution of fandom, there is increasingly new ethical and social implications. We have implications like responsible gambling, the impact of commercialization, the commercial good of your bottom line versus the social good of the larger society. We have sports being used as in social justice movements around the world. So it is quite clear that the modern day fan is increasingly more aware about these social issues, and they are vocal about it, and they want the brands to do what is right for them and by them. So opening to the panel, what do you think are one or two most fundamental social issues that your fans are concerned about?
Well, I think nowadays we've seen that the people from our perspective, we've seen that the people is starting to consume content, in like piracy, and they are using like non-traditional TV broadcast to see the broadcast of the sports competition. So something that we have developed is content protection tools in order to avoid the piracy. So we are supporting some of the largest sport right holders to protect their content, not just of the broadcasting, but also in social media. So we've seen that the people now is taking more care of the content. Content is power. Obviously, the fans needs to be at the center. Fan is king, but not at any cost. So I think nowadays there is more policies that are supporting the right holders to protect their content, and this is a path that we need to follow.
So piracy, right? It's a big issue right now. And I think fans are rightfully saying that, look, if I can get this out of no cost, then how are you going to build your fans, right? So fantastic. Hazel, what do you think of some of the issues?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I just read something online this morning that said, your book's either going to cost me $100 or $0. Because the point is, if it's not available at the point of access, people will then pirate it. We've largely managed to circumvent that a little bit in music by having this kind of all-you-can-eat model where, you know, you sign up for your $10, $20 a month subscription and all the world's music is on your platform of choice, SoundCloud in my case. But the challenge then becomes, if you have everything, have you monetized it correctly? And, you know, the music industry is only a $20 billion a year industry, which if you compare that to, you know, I know health tech, med tech, biotech, fintech, you're looking at like 10, 100x the value. So as an industry, we need to learn to grow that entire pie. It's not necessarily about sort of piracy. It's not about Pirate Bay or LimeWire with people illegally downloading music now. It's about how are we correctly monetizing the access to music that's already there. And then what the fan cares about is really that authenticity. They want that relationship with the artist. People are very, very used now to having sort of almost unfettered access to their sort of celebrity musicians that they're interested in. And I think we're living right in the moment of an interesting time. I don't know if anyone was watching the VMAs recently, but Chappell Roan, who's a really exciting new artist, has started to push back on the please don't touch me in public, please don't yell at me when I'm on the red carpet, because we've had this kind of parasocial relationship with musicians for a long time where that sort of unfettered access has been expected. So I think we're in a bit of a reset moment with the music industry, but really figuring out how we generate the most value and how you can actually provide something worthwhile and authentic to the music fan from the artist.
And I think that relates back to the previous conversation on creator economy, right? That people demand creators and influencers to be authentic. In the same way the fan demands that the brands are authentic. So that is probably for you one of the most important issues. Maurizio, what are some associated issues that your fans are most concerned about?
Well, I'm going last, so whatever these guys said, it's okay, cool. Whether it's music or sport, of course, the piracy is an important point. And now I'm not plugging my company in, but we are actually working with our partners to find ways so that if you decide to go on, nobody knows Sports Surge, of course, it's not a problem. So if you decide to watch something on an illegal stream, you're going to miss out on things that on the legal stream, on the official telecast, you are going to be provided. Another thing that I think we should address or we should talk about is that now sport is opening up to legal gambling. I mean, in Europe has been going on for a while, and now that the English Premier League is taking the front of the jersey away from those brands in the United States, instead that they are regulating that, true, but they are opening up very, very quickly. Again, it's a matter of finding, as tech companies, because we are all tech companies, our job is to find a way to make sure that there's the right combination, the right balance between what I'm giving you in terms of content, what kind of data I'm going to action by collecting your information so that I can give you something back, and also trying to find a balance between pirated content, too much gambling, make sure that there are safeguards in place.
So So I mean, in interest of time, so I think the panel has kind of talked about, in terms of social issues, piracy is number one, being authentic. And now sorry to cut you there, but let's back to the last part of the conversation, right? So we've talked about building fandom from the lens of technology. We have seen how these three great companies use AI to analyze data, volume of data, user-generated. We talk about the lens of social. Piracy is one key concern. And then obviously, like Maurizio said, balancing between what you take from the fan and what you get from the fan. Now, I have this wonderful idea here. I firmly believe that if you are committed to building the fandom that lasts, the fandom for longevity, for legacy, and the kingdom that lasts, let's look at building fandom from the lens of fundamental principles and values. So my last question to the panel, we are building, if you are committed to build the fandom that lasts happily ever after, what is the singular most value that's most important for you? Inigo.
Well, I would say community. At the end, at the end of the day, fandom means community. You need to build your own community, not just locally, but also globally. You need to understand what kind of content they would like to consume. You need to tailor the conversation with each of the different fans. And at the end of the day...
Community, I get it. Maurizio, one word.
Now you cannot give me at least 5.
Yes, 5 words.
So it comes down to the fact that if you are passionate about one sport, but you are not nurturing this relationship, you are going to lose that fan. So you better jump on the horse that carries the most data points possible back to you, so that you can make good choices and that passion gets passed down to the next generation.
Respect and care somewhere?
Yeah, you need to know the people that you are dealing with, and you need to care about them. It's not just a transaction. Give me X money, give me X time, and I'll give you a fake jersey. It's more complicated than that. You cannot have
care for your fan. Hazel.
Well, I probably would have said authenticity again, but I don't want to repeat myself. So instead, for my one word, I'm going to go with access. And you can expand it out from there.
All right, so we're going to do something funny here. All of you take out your phone, please. This is like a concert. Take out your phone. Turn on your torchlight, all right? So the panel has voted. Excellent, Claire. That's my number one fan. The panel has voted. What are the important values that build the fandom that lasts forever? Community, care, access. If you believe that community is important, could you please put this thing and wave to the right? If you think you agree with that, follow me. Excellent, you're very, very, very obedient. If you think that care is important, caring for the fan, knowing what they love and what they want, can you put it to the left? All of you are very, very, very obedient. And obviously, if you believe that fandom is something that lasts, and access and authenticity, which I believe in, could you just step up and down the lights? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen building fandom from the lens of social, from the lens of tech, from the lens of values. A round of applause to my lovely panel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.